It is dead. Did you know that the Seplos BMS goes to sleep after 48 hours of inactivity? So no power or current going in and out of the battery. Pretty cool feature. And then it doesn't react anymore. You have to push the button once, and then it wakes up again. And tonight we need both BMSs, both batteries online. I need to get rid of this pencil here, because we want to do some testing with the communication between this battery at the far end of the desk and this battery down here on the dolly. We want to see if we can make them communicate with each other. So welcome to another video here from the Off-Kit Garage late night show. As you can see, it is always dark, but it is nice and warm, t-shirt weather. So let's get started. Yeah, in one of the last videos when we built the 280 ampere hour Seplos do-it-yourself kit here, I could not get the BMS talking to my computer to the battery monitor software. And I couldn't quite figure out why it didn't work, because I tested with the other battery and it was just working fine. I had the same settings, I checked all the cabling, couldn't get it to work. So the next day I contacted Seplos and said, well, it looks like the BMS is faulty. It also has these two lights on all the time, while the other one, it shows the lights only when it's active, so charging or discharging. And I thought, this is a strange behavior, and also it doesn't communicate, might be a faulty BMS. But no, it is not a faulty BMS. This is per design. I'll tell you more about this later. But for now, connect one side here, RS485, and the other side goes into our USB adapter. Goes in the computer. Okay, and then we start our battery monitor software on the computer. We have connected to it could be actually hang on. We are connected to COM5, 19,200, connect, and nothing was working, right? So the simple solution was to change the baud rate, so the speed for the communication. And this is what some of you have already mentioned under the video, suggested to change the baud rate. And this was also the reply from Seplos to lower the baud rate from 19,200 to 9,600. And once we do this, it connects just fine. It reads all the parameters and the BMS is working as it should be. And I have asked Seplos why that is. Why is the baud rate different from one BMS to another BMS? And they told me, well, one of them is a CAN BMS and the other one is an RS485 BMS. And I said, okay. So I didn't think this would make any difference. So at the moment, because we have only one battery connected to the software, so we have a 1P installation, we don't need any dip switches to set at all. But if I want to connect this battery to the other battery at the end of the workbench here, we need to change the dip switch on the front as per this example here. So the master will be number 1 and the slave will be number 2. So at the moment, oh wow, they are bright. So at the moment you can see all the dip switches are off. They're all facing down. Take the little screwdriver here and put dip switch number 1 up. See, now this one is on, and so this will be our master, and we go to the other BMS here and we say number 2 is up. So there you can see it, all dip switches are down, just number 2 is up. And this is the whole programming for our system. Okay, and now we take the cable with us and connect this battery there to this one. And it doesn't matter if you use 485 1 or 2 or something, it doesn't matter. So they are now both connected to each other. And we take another network cable and go into the other port. And this one goes up to our computer. So computer, one battery, second battery, master, slave. Does that make you sick when I move the camera around that much? Okay, here we go, static camera. We go back into our battery monitor software, and we are still connected with COM5, 9600, connect. And then nothing happens anymore. See that? Timeout again. 19,200, connect. Well, the same. Timeout. Doesn't connect anymore. So because we have now two battery packs connected, I actually highlighted pack number 1 and pack number 2 because I want to see both. And I clicked on connect again, and nothing happened. And then I tried with only pack 1 connected, 19,200. Doesn't work. Only pack 2. It connects! It works! And you can see here in the top left hand corner, it says actually pack 02. And this totally makes sense, right? Because this is pack number 1 and pack number 2. But how can we talk now to pack number 1? Because obviously the connection is there, right? From the computer over this LAN cable into the BMS, and then with the blue cable to the other. Okay, I'm not moving around anymore. And when I highlight pack number 1, there should be a second tab up in the left hand corner showing pack number 1 now, but there's not. So let's break this again and then try again 9,600. And this time I want to talk to pack number 1, which is the big one. Connect. And it works with 9,600 baud. And we can see pack 01. So my RS485 addressing with the dip switches at the front of the batteries is actually correct. Number 1 and number 2. And I have to select the right baud rate and the right pack I want to talk to, and then it connects just fine. But I am not able to talk to both BMSs at the same time with an additional tab. Because the BMS of the 280 ampere hour battery has a baud rate of 9,600, and the BMS of the 135 ampere hour battery has a baud rate of 19,200. So these two BMSs are not talking to each other. They are basically not compatible. This is what Seplos told me, and I was really upset. I mean, I got both batteries to show you the communication of one battery to another battery, and nothing works. Even both BMSs are from Seplos. They are from the same manufacturer, from the same company. One is a 100 amp BMS and the other one is a 150 amp BMS. But they are not talking to each other. For some reason, they have different baud rates. And as you have seen, I can make it work in the software, but only for one BMS at a time. And this is certainly not something we want. You know, we want to have both BMSs connecting to each other and talking to the master. And then the master connects via CAN to our Victron system or to your inverter, whatever you like. But it's not working. It's not working. And I had a quite long discussion with Seplos and asked why that is. And they explained again to me that one BMS, the one with the 19,200 baud in the 135 ampere hour battery here, is a CAN BMS, while the other one in the 280 ampere hour do-it-yourself kit is an RS485 BMS. And I said, nah, you are mistaken. My BMSs, both of them have the CAN and the RS485 ports. They have both, they can do both. But one BMS may be a CAN and the other one may be an RS485. They said, why would you do that? Why? So anyway, I asked them, how can I find out which BMS I actually have? Okay, I hope you can read this here. I'm really zooming in on the BMS label sticker, and this one says 10D. And this means this is an RS485 BMS. The smaller battery has a... Yeah, there you can see it. This one is a 10C. See? And the C stands for CAN. That's a 10C. So, this is the situation. I have two different BMSs in two different batteries from the same manufacturer, and they're not talking to each other via the same RS485 because they are talking in a different speed. And there's no way to adjust anything to make this BMS talk slower, to adapt to the other battery. No fucking way. And here, if you have a look on their website, under Seplos Smart BMSs, you can see communication CAN bus, communication CAN bus, communication CAN bus, CAN bus. So all the BMSs on their website are talking CAN bus. But I've got the 150 amp BMS, so I've got exactly this one here. And here it says CAN bus default, RS485, please contact Salesman. So I did. I contacted the Salesman from Seplos. And until today, I'm still not sure why they have two different BMSs, one a CAN and one an RS485, and how to distinguish them, why would you have both ports then if one talks only CAN and the other one only RS485? And I asked them specifically if one of the ports is not working on the battery now. So if you have a CAN BMS, does that mean the RS485 doesn't work? But this is clearly not the case because, as we have seen, this one does have the CAN BMS built in, but the RS485 works. They still could not explain to me why there is one called CAN BMS and the other one is called RS485 BMS. I still have no freaking idea. So obviously, even if you order one of these BMSs here, they still talk RS485. Right? As we have seen, both of my batteries are talking RS485. I haven't tested the CAN yet, but I'll talk about this in a minute. And I don't know why I need to contact them again if I want RS485, because RS485 obviously is working. So this is all super clear as mud. I don't understand. But the very exciting part of all this is that Seplos is actually working on a new type of BMS. They have watched all my videos and they have already listened to our feedback to them. So the next generation of Seplos BMSs may have a Bluetooth connection and an app, as well as an auto dip switch setting. So you don't have the dip switches at the front anymore. You don't need to worry about how many packs you put in parallel. You just plug everything together and the BMSs figure this out themselves. But they also said it won't have an active balancer. So hopefully they think about this feature. If it would have at least a 1 amp active balancer, that would be amazing. So hopefully it doesn't take too long until we see this new Seplos BMS, because I'm really keen to test it out. And I probably order 2 of them and replace the existing ones in my batteries here, because I still want to have these 2 batteries to talk to each other, and then I want to have this one connected to our Victron system. I mean, this is the whole purpose of these BMSs, right? To communicate to an inverter or to Victron. Yeah, and well, this is probably something we have to talk about as well. As you have seen in one of the last videos, I bought these RS485 CAN hats for the Raspberry Pi. But you can see here it has the high and low and the A and B. And I bought also this one here. This is a larger one, which is an isolated CAN hat. You can see the slot here in the middle of the PCB, which actually symbolizes the isolation. And this IC here connects both sides together. And this one also comes with 2 CAN ports. So, and how this all works is these heads, they attach actually to the GPIO of the Raspberry Pi. So you just connect them, line them up, and then push them in like this. So they're getting power and connect back to the main motherboard of the Raspberry Pi. And then you connect the high and low of your CAN bus over here, and also the negative from pin 1. And then it should just work, right? But for some reason it does not work. I can't get it to work. The driver is installed, the software is installed. It shows me now there is a CAN port available, but there's no communication to any of the batteries. So, and when we have a look at the BMS manual and go all the way down, communication, here's the CAN connector definition. And here it explains CAN low, CAN high, and ground. So you use pin 3, 4 and 5 for that. And this is exactly what I have done with the RJ485 connector and the cables here. And I connected them to the CAN hut here, but there's nothing I can see inside the Raspberry Pi, no communication. So I don't know why it is not working. So the question now is here, has any of you got this working with the RS485 CAN head on the Raspberry Pi or the isolated CAN head? We've got the Victron system running on here, but the BMS is just not showing up. I would expect the BMS would now show in the Victron system as well if everything is correctly connected and I've installed all the software, all the drivers, all the configuration is ready, but it's not. It's not doing it and I'm stuck. I don't know why. So I am very close, I mean that close, to actually try this whole setup with a original Cerbo GX device from Victron Energy. This seems to be a solution which is not that easy to set up. It's not straightforward, it's certainly nothing for beginners, and it is not a plug-and-play solution, while the Cerbo GX from Victron is. Yeah guys, so far this is all the communication I could get from both batteries, so we know now they are not talking to each other. We have to wait for this new magic Seplos BMS to come out, but this all doesn't help me at the moment, right? So I'm really stuck. And I would really like to thank Lupi. Yeah, I know, right? Who actually posted a fairly long comment under one of my videos recently and explained how the charge limit algorithm works in the Seplos BMSs. And this is a translation from Chinese into English. I'm not sure if he has done it or so, I don't know. But it actually explains in several steps how the BMS sends the signal to your inverter, to your charger, and limits the current going into your battery if certain parameters are met. So, for example, if the temperature of the battery goes too high, it slows down your charging, which makes perfectly sense. It also explains exactly what happens if you have more than one battery in parallel, and one of the battery packs has an over temperature or an over voltage situation. What happens? Does it slow down all the batteries at once or just this one pack? It also explains what happens if one of your battery banks has an over voltage situation and turns off. So in this case, it doesn't affect any of the other battery banks. As I have read this before, but this is obviously not the case. So all the remaining battery banks keep powering your load. They stay connected. Only this one battery bank with the over voltage or under voltage situation or a hot temperature turns off. Everything else keeps running. And I'll put this translation down under the video in the description because it is far too long to post here on the screen. And while the BMS can trigger to slow down your charging through your charger, it can also slow down discharging. And I was thinking, well, how does this work? You know, you cannot slow down discharging. If you have a certain load connected to your inverter, you cannot slow this down or take half of it away. And obviously this feature only works if you are still grid connected. So it takes more power from the grid and only a small portion from your battery until the battery cools down again, or the balancer has done the work, or the voltage of this one battery bank has come down. So obviously this is not working in an off-grid situation. Then it can only mean on or off, but nothing in between. So thank you again, Lu Pei, for this information here. That was a great comment, and thanks so much for sharing this. Yeah, and something else. I have no permission to share with you the document where it explains the function switches of the Seplos BMSs. And this is just a PDF document. It doesn't have any official Seplos header or something, but the technician sent this over to me and I have asked for permission to share this with you, which I now have. And you can see all the function switches of the BMS here with a short explanation. At least some of them still don't make too much sense to me, but it probably makes more sense if I have a look in the BMS directly and see what the switch function actually does. Yeah, and I think it even explains the funny ones. Well, anyway, I linked this document down below under the video as well as on my website in the BMS section under the Seplos BMS. So if you are interested in downloading this document, this is with friendly permissions from Seplos directly. It's really good to have this channel of communication, I think. We're getting a lot of information from them now. I like it. Okay, guys, I think so far this video from tonight. This is all I have done with the communication so far, so I'm totally stuck with the Raspberry Pi and the CAN heads, as well as the communication via RS485 port from one BMS to the other BMS, because apparently there are different BMSs, CAN and RS485. Whatever that means, I still cannot make sense out of that. So I'll keep digging, I'll keep trying, and if I get something new here with the communication, I'll let you know, of course, here on the channel in the Off-Grid Garage in sunny hot Australia. It is really nice weather now, and we are making 15 kilowatt hours per day. This is like 7 times more than just 6 weeks ago. It is unbelievable how quick this goes. So I'm enjoying every single day, as you can imagine. Okay guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all your amazing support here. For all these beautiful people out there who are supporting the channel financially as well. Thank you very much for all your donations. And until the next video, guys, you stay charged, stay safe, and thanks again for watching. See you then. Bye-bye. Yeah, and don't forget, if you have any information how this CAN thingy work on the Raspberry, I would really like to do a video about the whole setup. So please let me know if this works and how it works. Thank you very much.